Tuition fees will go up to £9,500 per student per year. It's the first time fees have risen in 8 years. Universities are being asked to improve the value for money, but the decision to put the fees up has been criticised by unions as morally and economically wrong. Do you think it is worth the money nowadays? Mike, did you go to university? I'm presuming you did.
Well, I went to the University of the Trent, which was, in fact, Trent Polytechnic in those days, for 1 year, and then realised I was wasting my time. So I left and got a job in my local newspaper, and thus my career in journalism
So you started, didn't complete?
I didn't complete my course, but it means I got into work 2 years before my mates who did a 3-year course, and I was way ahead of them by then. I think university can be a complete waste of time for lots of people. For instance, last week I had to call a plumber into my house, and for one visit it was a £475 bill to make a minor adjustment to one of my showers, OK, that had a bit of a leak.
Who did you call? Charlie Mullins?
No, I didn't actually. But the point I'm making is that the reason that plumbers are so expensive, the reason that bricklayers and plasterers are so expensive, we don't do any practical education in this country anymore. Too many young people go to university. If you take a degree in history, you talk English, didn't you, Henry?
I took German and French.
German and French, modern language. Well, that's very useful, because that means you could be useful in Germany or France. But for somebody who just goes
on this show, when he often displays his
But somebody goes and takes just history, unless they want to be an historian or they want to look at old books or something, it's a complete waste of time.
It's not a waste of time.
It is a complete waste of time. Now, the other thing is, you're loading yourself with a lot of debt. They can't do practical courses like lorry driving, because we need more lorry drivers. And the other issue for me is that universities become a racket to draw in foreign students who pay vast amounts of money to these huge organisations where the Vice-Chancellor gets £400,000 a year. And the other side effect of that, you go to any university town, huge tower blocks of apartments for students whose parents can afford to put them in there.
But you know, what you're describing, Mike, what you're describing is an economy. We want to grow. You know, everybody talks about how this country hasn't grown in the last 15 years. Universities are a key part and a key driver of that.
There are too many young kids with degrees.
Sorry?
You have to have a degree now to work in McDonald's. You have to have a degree to work in a supermarket. It's a load of nonsense.
Mike, I did go to university between the ages of 18 and 22.
You did very well. Well done.
Did I know what I wanted to do at 18? Didn't have a clue. I knew that
I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to earn some money.
Okay, Henry,
it's all about that.
Sorry.
But it's not. Life isn't all about money. Life isn't all about being transactional. It's about discovering who you are, what you want to be, learning about society, and working out what you want to do for the next 60 or so years. And if you want a modern, thoughtful, intelligent country with people who believe in themselves and believe in the country, then perhaps university is a gateway for that. It isn't just about working for 40 or 50 years and then retiring. It's about discovering what it means to be a human being, and learning from history is very important. Doing your politics is also important. Doing your science. Doctors have to go to university. Dentists, engineers, many of them have to go to university.
I mean, I would be quite keen if I was having some sort of surgery that the surgeon had indeed went to university or looked at a book to some extent. Your calls on whether university is actually worth the money, 0207 862 2222. We'll speak to you in just a moment. So tuition fees are going up to £9,500 per student per year. Is that good value for money, or do you think actually students are better with a bit of life experience and practical skills, better off just getting a job? We're going to go straight to those calls and speak to Susan from Lincolnshire. What's your view on this?
Well, I'm only talking personally. I didn't go to university. I didn't go to tech college. But apart from doing things to do with the mains gas and mains electricity, there's not a thing I can do. I built a 6-foot wall outside. I built a fireplace. I do all the decorating, the painting, the wallpapering. I've, used timber cladding to do my walls. There's not much I can't do. And I learn from watching and asking questions as a kid.
So it sounds like you're very much in line with what Mike is saying here, but the skills that you're talking about here are practical skills. Now, his argument is you don't need to go to university for practical skills, and that might be right. You should get apprenticeships for that. I'm glad to see you're incredibly handy. Is that something that you did as a job, Susan, can I ask?
Well, you name it. I've done it as a job, but mostly I've worked with the general public and watched when we've had to have these particular people in skilled people in. I've watched, learned and asked questions. qualifications. Now at 70 odd, there ain't much I can't do.
Yeah, that's
I mean, it sounds like
excellent.
you have an incredible life skills. However, when we think of other jobs, more heady jobs rather than physical jobs, so an accountant perhaps, or a scientist, or do you think that university is beneficial for those sorts of careers?
I think for some of them, I've got to agree that they need to have a specialist, and they need to take exams to realise that they've done it, especially like say doctors and things like that. But personally, I think on most things, everyday things, if people took the time to learn, they can do most things for themselves.
On the job, or for themselves. Susan, your line's just crackling a bit, which is really annoying. Fascinating call from you. Thank you very much. You've impressed me greatly. Jean from Greater Manchester, what's your view on this one? Do we need to go to universities? Is it worth it at all?
Well, my granddaughter lives with me, and she's just finished Salford University in English literature. She's got a 2-1. Her boyfriend's also living with me. He's just finished Manchester University. He got a 2 in accountancy. They both can't get jobs. They both said to me, we feel we've wasted 4 years of our life.
And are they
because we
both in
can't
a
get
lot of
jobs.
debt?
Yes, got all the debt from 4 years. She's out today doing no contract work in a high school, doing emails and putting stamps on envelopes. She did it yesterday and she's done it today. She's no other work to look forward to.
Oh, it's incredibly disheartening. I suppose, Henry, your view would be that, yes, OK, maybe it's a struggle to get a job at the moment with the economy the way it is, but they do have all that experience. Did they meet at university or during the university time? Jean?
Pardon?
Did your granddaughter and her partner, did they meet during their time at university?
No, they never had a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Their first boyfriend and girlfriend since 2 years, and they met through some social on the phone for university people to meet, and they met each other and they've been together ever since.
Well,
and he moved in with me when he left. He was paying. His father was paying £700 in Manchester for him to stay in a house in a room that was full of mould and dirt and everything.
Not a story I've not heard before, Jean.
Yeah.
But on the upside, Jean, I mean, that's where they met, in the cauldron, the magic of university, the societies, the engagement. And one of the things we haven't mentioned, the elephant in the room.
Work.
No, not the elephant in the room. Well, there's a labour shortage in this country, so hopefully in time they'll find a job and perhaps one matched to their skills. Social mobility. University is a great lever for social mobility and confidence. I'm from Manchester, from the centre of Manchester, Cheetham Hill near Salford. My parents, immigrant background, working class jobs, but going to university gave me confidence. I came down to London and I've lived here ever since, and I try and preach that message. So that social mobility, without the university, an awful lot of people from my background and other backgrounds would simply not have the confidence and the qualifications to take on things that they wouldn't have initially imagined.
But incredibly frustrating, Jean, if you spend that whole time doing all your studies and accruing huge amounts of debt. I actually spoke to a colleague this morning who's in, a lot of debt. I shouldn't really give the number. A lot of debt from university. My jaw hit the table when I found out the number. And then not to get a job after it must be terrifying and really disheartening. Jean, thank you for your call.
Do you think the fact, that the fees have gone up might put more people off going to university,
it will
which in my view is a positive thing, positive.
Really?
Yeah.
But back in the...
the worry is then it will put off people that are from less well-off backgrounds, and then you don't get the social mobility that Henry's discussing. Anitra from Buckinghamshire, university, is it worth it?
Sorry, could you say that again?
At university, is it worth it, Anitra?
Absolutely, yes. It gives you a long time. It shows that you can follow through a course and finish a task.
OK, but if you can't get a job at the end of it and you're in tens of thousands of pounds worth of debt, what's the point?
Well, the point is, do your research properly and get a degree that will lead to a job, and find out what kind of job you're likely to want so that you get the right kind of degree.
Easier said than done.
Anitra makes a very good point, and the statistics do show that people who, on average, who go to university do end up earning, over a lifetime of 30 or 40 years' work, several $100,000 more, in some cases, than people who didn't go to university.
Yeah. Henry, can I just point out, you went to a very good university. You went to Oxford, OK?
Right, yes.
And I'm not saying that to embarrass
But
you.
I'm from Cheetham Mill in Manchester.
No, I admire you enormously.
Cheetham Mill.
I admire you enormously, but I would say Oxford graduates are tastier on the jobs market than somebody who's come from the University of Buckingham or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, Buckingham's a very good
Tastier on the
university.
job
Yeah.
market. That's a new way of
Hopefully, the
describing
universities
that.
will churn out a cohort of young, dynamic, engaged people who'll be able to adapt themselves to whatever the economy wants.
Okay. Well, we've got to move on.